Today, I want to talk about why I think having the perfect work-life balance is such a myth and what I believe in instead. This is for anyone who also feels anxious about doing life right, who feels guilty about not being able to pour equally into all their cups, whether that be their health, their relationships. I was talking about this with a friend and he was like, you just can't have everything at once. And I believe that's not true. I think you can have everything, you just can't have it all at once. And there's this thing around seasons. I started to feel very guilty when I was super focused on my business that I didn't have enough time for my friends. But then I started to develop this theory of the theater theory. And so I know what are my front row habits and hobbies. With the calendar stuff as well, there's this method where you can map your ideal week and then you can map your actual tasks and stuff on, and you can see the mismatch. The things that are weighted with more priority get more priority in your life. And it also means that you have the energy to sustain everything else. Hi everyone, welcome to the Reclaiming Bossy podcast. My name is Mahika, and today I want to talk about why I think having the perfect work-life balance is such a myth and what I believe in instead. This is for anyone who also feels anxious about doing life right, about their work-life balance, who feels guilty about not being able to pour equally into all their cups, whether that be their health, their relationships, their work, their friendships, their hobbies. It's okay. I'm here with you. And I've worked on some strategies to help me that I'm going to share with you today that I think will make life a little bit easier for you. Number one, I want to talk about the whole idea of the work-life balance, because for so many months, I would wake up every morning feeling like I've already lost because, oh my God, I didn't have enough time to do the morning routine and do all the healthy habits, and I'm behind and I'm not doing enough for my work and I'm not showing up for my friends, and I'm just not good enough and I'm not doing enough. And this is exhausting. And I think that's such a disempowering narrative to carry into your life and your work. And so today I want to talk about instead what you can do. So first thing is I'm going to give you guys some homework. I think it's time that you do a little bit of a life audit and you sit and you think about the different areas of your life and you say, where am I happy? Where am I unhappy? And you give it a score. And then you see where are the areas that I don't feel the most 100% and good. And then give yourself small action steps. They don't have to be big, but how can I bring a little bit more into that area of my life? Then I want you to go and I want you to get your calendar and I want you to make time for those action steps. Because sometimes I think we overcommit to things and then we get annoyed at ourselves that we haven't done everything, but there's not enough time in the day to do all of those things. And so how can you make time for the things that are important to you? And part of this exercise is thinking about what is important to you. And in order to do that, you have to understand that life works in seasons. Now, I used to think work-life balance was 8 hours of work, 8 hours of life, 8 hours of sleep. And when I went to uni, there was a saying of you can't have a social life, good grades, and 8 hours of sleep. And I was talking about this with a friend and he was like, you just can't have everything at once. And I believe that's not true. I think you can have everything, you just can't have it all at once. And there's this thing around seasons. So I'm a big season person, and your seasons don't have to be huge. They can be mini seasons. Now, I like to work my seasons in different ways. They can be within the week, where I'll have certain days that are very I call them harvest days, where I go out and I'm running from place to place and I'm doing all my meetings and I'm doing all my social engagements. And then I have the sowing the seeds days, which is my more resting days, my deep work days, the days where I will sit at home and I'll make more time for cleaning my house and doing my routine and whatever. But then also within the month, if you're a woman, you can choose to map this on your menstrual cycle, because you'll have this thing called the luteal phase, which is when you're way lower energy. I have this, but I actually feel like I'm operating at 40% capacity. And I'll make that the time where I make more time for rest, more time for sleep, more time for thinking and reflecting. And then the other times of the month is way more social, way more go, go, go. But in order to understand the seasons, you have to understand what works for you. What is your energy cycle like? How do you work? How is in order to balance your work with your life, how does your work commitments map onto you as a person? I used to really put a lot of pressure on myself of working 8 to 10 hour days, but I am not that person. I'm not that person that can work that long. I lose focus and I lose productivity. So I'm giving myself permission to work less hours, but just focus on the tasks and map the tasks onto like deadlines in the way that it used to work for me at university. I was never that girl that was in the library 50 hours a week, because that just did not work for me. And I think if you have the luxury, again, this doesn't work for everyone because some people have 9 to 5s, but if you're a founder, if you're a remote worker, if you're a student, then you know that you can make your workload more time and like less time-based and more task-based. And so I will make slots of deep work. And for me, that is laptop deep work, and that will be like 5 hours max. I can't do more than like 3 or 4 realistically, but there'll be days where I'll work with my team and we'll work like 5-6 hours, and that will be like go, go, go. But then those days will be sprint days. They're like very intense. And when you have those days, how can you get rid of distraction? So you can use the Pomodoro method. You can use social media blockers. I use this thing called Freedom, which is really good. Also, like, how can you make your environment easier to work in? Now, you can go, for me, this is going to cute coffee shops, because I find leaving my house, leaving my bed is like really good for work, but also going into my office and really like allowing yourself to work depending on where you are. I'm not one of these people that can consistently work the same way every single day. And so I have like a menu of different options for myself. I have work in the office days, I have work from home days, I have work in the coffee shop days. And so how can you create a menu for yourself? Now, I'm very privileged that I have a lot of flexibility because I run my own business. But how can you create that flexibility? Flexibility in environment, flexibility in tasks. Also with work, I think batching your tasks is so important. And the way that I do this is I have an admin hour. Now, this doesn't always happen because sometimes important stuff comes up, but my day-to-day checking my emails, doing my payments, doing my invoices, I'll put that all into an admin hour. So it's less overwhelming of like constantly task switching and feeling like I'm not getting enough work done. I've also now stopped doing stuff with the to-do list. Like, I have been a massive to-do list person, and now I try and map the to-do list onto my calendar. So I know that I'm like actually allocating those important tasks time, because often we overload our to-do list and we're unrealistic about how we can get things done. So it's not like I have to work 8 hours or I have to work 6 hours, but it's like this task is now going to be done from this time to this time. And then if I need to spend more time doing it, cool. If I need to spend less time doing it, amazing. But that helps me feel a lot less overwhelmed around work. Now, again, with work, I like to work in harvest and sow the seed seasons. So harvest is those seasons where like I'm going and I'm speaking and I'm doing the podcast recordings and I am going and interacting with everyone, and it's a very like go, go, go time. But in order to do that, I need to have the time where I'm sitting at home and I'm coming up with ideas. How can I make the business better? How can I make it more efficient? What do I need to create? And those times don't necessarily look like they're working as hard, but I would not be able to do the harvest without sowing the seeds. And so I think it's about like reflecting with yourself, like what season am I in and how can I make my harvest better? That might require you to rest more. I don't know if I believe in work hard, play hard, but I definitely believe in work hard, rest hard. I used to think rest was a sign of failure. I found it really good. Like, I used to love those days where I'd be waking up super early and then going from meeting to meeting to meeting to event to event to event, and then coming home super late, running around the city. And I was like, why can't I do this every day? But like, that's just not realistic for your health and your energy sometimes. And so how can you make your harvest better? It's by resting. It's by the days that you're not doing that. Are you giving yourself the nutrition that you need? Are you sleeping enough? Are you spending time doing things that give you energy? And a way that I like to ensure that is I do this thing called an energy audit. I've started slacking, but every weekend I sit down and I write things that gave me energy, things that took my energy, and neutral. And so the energy giving things, that can be habits, that can be people, that can be like things that I ate, things that I did. And that doesn't have to be good or bad. It's just an observation around where my energy is. And when you start accounting that, it makes it easier to do the work. Now with the life, again, we operate in seasons. You might have a season where you might have less time to give to your friends or to your relationship or to your family. And I think an important thing to do in that moment is to communicate to people that are important to you. I started to feel very guilty when I was super focused on my business that I didn't have enough time for my friends. But then I started to develop this theory of the theater theory of life, and friendships and relationships is like a theater. You have the front row and then you have all the other rows. So in my life, I know who's in my front row. And whenever, regardless of wherever I am in my life, front row, I will always make time for. might be a little bit less, but like I know what's happening in their life and like they know what's happening in mine, and we really like show up for each other. Everyone else is important to me, but maybe when I'm a little bit stressed and anxious, I don't have time and I don't have the energy, and that doesn't mean I don't love them. And you have to communicate that. And you will be in other people's back rows, third rows, second rows, fourth rows, but you're still in their theater. You still care about them. They still care about you. And that's okay. And when you become an adult, you realize your front row becomes smaller and smaller. When I was at uni, I had a massive front row because I had a lot more time. Now it's slightly harder. And also, no one has an assigned seat. The rows keep reshuffling, and that's okay. And that's why I like an energy audit, because it helps me check in with like, who do I really need to make time for? When I was in a relationship, my partner took a seat in that row. Now there's no seat for that. And right now I'm happy because I'm overwhelmed. I don't need a seat for that. I have seats for my really good friends, and for the other people in my life, for my team and my family. But again, it's about communicating, and everyone has different love languages. I have some friends that like to text every day. I'm not one of these people that usually texts every day. And so communicating with them of like, how else can I make you feel loved, special, and important? And when you have that conversation, it removes a lot of the guilt. And I think actually scheduling in quality time with the people in your front row is so important. It doesn't have to be every day. It doesn't have to be every week. You can literally have like a monthly anniversary check-in date thing with your friends. I've started doing this with some of my groups of friends, and it's so helpful. And I think that really makes it easier. And then also with the energy audit, you realize like, what hobbies in my life do I need? Like, I love doing different things. I'm the queen of side quests. Salsa, running, jiu-jitsu, languages, all these things, but I don't always have the time to do all of these things. And so I know what are my like front row habits and hobbies. And I make time for those things. And then everything else, it's in a season of my life where I have more time. And so I find that really, really helpful. With the calendar stuff as well, there's this method where you can map your ideal week, and then you can map your actual tasks and stuff on, and you can see the mismatch. And you can slowly start to get towards your ideal week. But you are not a robot. There is no such thing as perfectly outputting all the time with your work and your health and your habits and your hobbies and your friendships and your relationships. I think in every given season, just pick the priorities and then just be unapologetic about those priorities. My phone is now on Do Not Disturb. I have the social media blocker, and I used to get really people-pleasy about not being able to do everything. I'm starting to get better at that. And if you want an episode around like being a recovering people-pleaser and how to communicate with the people in your life that you love them and you find them important, but right now you have other priorities, we can do that, because that's so hard. But I'm here to tell you that operating your life in seasons without guilt is how you create a balance. A balance does not mean equal. It means the things that are weighted with more priority get more priority in your life. And it also means that you have the energy to sustain everything else. And I think health is the first foundation of all of that. And so making time for your health is so important. This is something that I am guilty of always putting last. I've always put work and friends and social life first. And then I would put sleep last. I'd put working out last. I'd put nutrition last. The days where I felt overwhelmed, I just didn't make time to cook or eat. I'd run around. I wouldn't sleep. I'd sleep like 5-6 hours. I wouldn't work out. And that takes away from your energy. And in order to have the energy to do stuff, you need to take care of your health. Now, it doesn't have to be working out every day. I've stopped. I don't do that. It doesn't have to be sleeping 8 hours if you do not have the time to do that. But again, know what your bare minimum health input is for you. That's going to be so different. For me, I now know that that's like 3 or 4 days of movement a week, sleeping 7 to 8 hours, and eating 3 good meals a day. That's my non-negotiable. That's my bare minimum. And then everything else I can add in seasons of my life where I have more flexibility and more time, and I can build some of those habits in more and more. But you do not have to be perfect, but the foundation needs to be there. And so I think if health is one of the things that you're lacking and you're dropping off on, create your bare minimum foundation, and then you have your little menu of like, the weeks that I have more time to give, I will add this and this and this. The weeks I have less time to give, I'll add this and this and this. or I'll take away this and this and this. But that's the one that's like the foundation, because you cannot show up as a good friend, a good partner, a good boss, a good colleague if you are sleep deprived, if you are hungry, if you are sick. And so that's like one big thing I'm learning. And we're going to get some health, nutrition, sleep, fitness experts on this podcast for more information on that, because I'm not equipped to give you that tea. But as someone who's always booked and busy, this is something that's really helped me. What is my bare minimum foundation in the areas of my life that matter to me? What are my priorities? And how can I make time for that? And then how can I just be okay with that and know that in different seasons of my life, things will change and evolve, and celebrate the harvest seasons, but also celebrate the slower seasons where I sowed the seeds. That's given me a lot of reassurance and clarity. I hope it helps you too. If you have any questions around work-life balance, around health, navigating relationships, friendships, work, your habits, your hobbies, everything between, then let me know in the comments on the podcast Instagram and the TikTok. But in the meanwhile, stay tuned for another inspiring, energizing conversation. Thank you.